And something happened to you one afternoon, didn't it, in the
Yeah,
canning
that was after
factory?
about 3 years of knowing Maharaji and having this relationship.
Yeah.
It was interesting because the canning factory sent me to a place they never sent me. I'd never been there before. And they sent me way in the back of the canning factory into the pots and pans area where you just scrub these pots and pans huge. And something drew me to a very deep stillness. I can't say what that was, but I know I stood in place. I knew it was an hour because I was at work. Had I not been at work, I would not known or understood the time. But the universe pretty much turned inside out. And I was told inwardly, everything that you think you know is not exactly correct and is not exactly wrong. So it left the mind like an infinite horizontal line that couldn't catch anything.
So you were standing there
Excuse me.
and your mind couldn't catch anything.
And my mind couldn't catch anything. But something happened. And something happened that never changed. And a kind of transparency occurred. Um, the heart was broken and open. The mind was stilled. Um, the realization that everything and everyone was essential and total. These are words that came afterward.
Mm.
This did not come in the experience. But the experience gave this kind of insight. And it never changed. So that transparency is still there, that sense of essential totality is still there. The love is incredible.
So afterwards, how did what happened impact your life? What changed in your life? What changed in you?
Well, everything changed in a way, and nothing changed in a way. I mean, the outer life was still what it was, finding work, teaching at the university. But the view of that outer life, there wasn't an inner and an outer life. That's not the story. But the view of the outer life and the view of life was completely and absolutely shifted. And I feel forever. I can't say forever because forever hasn't occurred yet, whatever that means. But it hasn't shifted up to this day.
But how did the view, just trying to get a little bit more detail if we can,
Okay.
how did the view change?
Well, it created created, that's odd too. It revealed the innocence of humanity in one way. That's a big deal, by the way. That experience gave the sense of everything is special or nothing is special. Everything is true or nothing is true. There's nothing in between. It's very black and white. It's either very white or very black, and they're not in opposition. They're really the same thing. I kept going to India, and my master told me, he said, don't advertise yourself, don't put yourself out at all. He said, when the rose wastes its scent, people will come of their own accord. And that's what happened, and that's really where my life changed, was at the beginning of the month in India, I can say, let's say October, one person walked in the ashram, and at the end of the month in October, there were 100 people sitting on the roof, wanting to hear me speak
Huh.
and inviting me around the world, and that changed my life.
So you were radiating something, or was it what you said, or?
I have no idea, to be quite honest. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I want, if I want anything, it's to inspire people, and to inspire them to come to their heart, to come to their own stable power of wisdom. So I think people were very receptive for that. I think they were very receptive for that. It hasn't changed.
You see, one thing I found in a book, funny enough, last night, almost by chance, just half a page written about what you wrote at the time about your experience in the canning factory. One thing I remember you said there was, you saw that there was no me and no not me.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly
a
right.
Contradiction, but that fascinates me, what you actually experienced.
There's
There's
no
no me, but no not me.
There's no contradictions in the universe. Everything is resolved. It's only how we feel or how we think and how we see dualistically. Everything in the universe is totally and absolutely, and it never has been anything but resolved. And there are no contradictions whatsoever from what I can see.
And so what happened personality-wise? You had like all of us, you had a personality, and our personalities, as we both know,
Still
run
goes on.
programs from
Yeah.
very young, what we learned to experience when we were very young. They're the basis of our personality. Were you in a situation where your personality just ran? Were you watching it? Did you get involved with it sometimes? How was that?
Those 3 years before that experience in the canning factory, that was very deep watching. And that was a very deep reflection time. Hours and hours would go by without moving, actually. I would really be sitting in meditation for a very long time and watching. And when I came back to work in the factory, I thought my master was brilliant because he wouldn't allow me to stay there. So everything that I gathered there had to be actualized into the world. It had to be tested in the everyday life. So I was really, really touched that I had to go back. And it came from very quiet time to a very active time. It was like, like that. So, there was a long, good practice on the Ganges and very quiet and spiritual atmosphere. And then coming back to an everyday life where you really had to struggle to get along. And they meshed very beautifully. So I'm very grateful for that.
Did you manage to stay out of the struggle insofar as there may have been elements of struggling happening, but you were somehow separate from that?
Not really. Not fully until the experience in the cannery. I mean, I went home immediately, turned on the TV, and did all of the things that you would do. But there was still a very, there was a lot of, I guess you could call it grace or blessing, or there was a lot of spiritual opportunity, I would say. I think spirituality is everyday life, so I was very, very, very pleased and very happy that he would send me back into that life, because that's where it really got tested. And that's where I really had to watch myself, not to hold myself back, but to see how it was operating, how this being was operating, whether she was seeing truly, or she was seeing not truly, or whether she was being genuine or being ingenuine, and what those things actually meant. And it wasn't a lot of evaluation, it was just watching.